Well, let's stay in Durban. This is where the ANC is unrelenting in its fight against the MK party as it approaches the High Court to claim the logo and name as its intellectual property. The governing party lost in the electoral court. This is where it sought to have the political newcomers deregistered with the IEC. Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo is following this story and joins me live now from Durban. Ziyanda, in your PCC yesterday, you said, in the electoral court, MK may have won the battle, but will they win the war? And this is really an important feature in their bid for the name and claim to the MK logo. Tell us a bit more about what's expected to unfold.
Yeah, Iman, I said that because, this is clearly just another round of internal factional battles of the ANC for all intents and purposes, because basically this is a breakaway party from the governing ANC and led by its former president, Jacob Zuma. He's even said that, the reason why he is supporting the MK party is so that he can fix the ANC from outside. But in terms of inside court today, the second legal challenge being mounted by the ANC, dealing with issues of the logo and the emblem. And let's bring in our legal expert who'll be with us throughout the day today, Mpumelelo Zikalala, because these two cases, the one that the ANC lost in the electoral court yesterday and the one that we're dealing with today, are linked in many ways. However, is it a given that because the ANC lost yesterday, they are now limping going into this matter? Or will this court view things differently and have to deal specifically and only with the Trademark Act?
Well, it may be the same parties, but it's a different set of facts, different sets of sequence of events, and different laws that you're certainly going to look at. So the cause of action is completely different. So this court is going to say, based on the paper that you've submitted, let's look at the question of law, let's look at the question of evidence and decided cases, and check who is wrong and who is right. And that is how we're going to rule.
And I must correct this, it's only going to be one judge and it's an urgent court. Will the ANC be able to make the case for the urgency of this matter, given the fact that the IEC had already dismissed their appeal? And so what is it that would prejudice the ANC if this matter is not dealt with before the 29th of May?
You see, for the fact of urgency, you then say, before we even start to look at the merits, let's look at the urgency of the matter. Are you going to suffer irreparable harm? Are there any other alternative remedies that are there? Is it self-created agency or natural agency? Self-created in a sense that you've waited for all this time and you've only moved when you saw that the time was against you, and then you started moving and going into things. If they aren't able to answer that, this case could fall simply on the basis of non-agency, and the merits will not be able to be looked at.
All right, Mpumelelo Zikalala is a legal expert. Iman, I'm going to try and steal the national spokesperson of the ANC, Mahleni Bhengu-Motsiri. Of course, yesterday the ANC noting the judgments and saying that they will comply with it insofar as what the court had said, quite scathing that judgment in many aspects, Mahleni, that your argument about urgency was simply irrational because you should have known. I suppose the question is, was the ANC caught napping in this aspect?
Well, I don't believe we were caught napping. I believe that the court ruled on the strength of various arguments, and our argument wasn't cogent enough. It's as simple as that, Ziyanda. And we respect the decisions of the courts, as we always say, and urge South Africans, including the Zuma party, that is threatening war should Jacob Zuma not be made or should not appear on the ballot list. So we have no angst about that. Today we're here. And this court, of course, is a reminder. Some of us were young activists, were remanded here in custody. But we have no angst. We are pursuing this issue because we're not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it really for the legacy of the African National Congress.
I know you're not a lawyer, but a point has been raised about the fact that the name of uMkhonto weSizwe is under the Legacy Trust, and the Legacy Trust is not an applicant in this matter. And also, again, on the issues of urgency, if you're not able to prove that this is urgent, that this matter may fall flat. How concerned are you, in light of what happened yesterday? Yes, there are two separate matters, about the optics of the ANC losing again so close to an election.
Well, I suppose if you were to juxtapose that with the work we're doing on the ground, have you seen any other party that is on the ground?
There are.
Ziyanda?
Yes, there are parties on the ground. Maybe we can argue about the momentum, but there are parties on the ground, and we've been covering that on Newzroom Afrika.
Granted, but the ANC has been visible, has been on the ground, interacting with our people, and going in there with as utmost humility as it is required. So these court challenges may be feeding a particular narrative, particularly on social media. But we are comfortable in the work we're doing. We're fighting an election campaign. For us, this is I won't call it a sideshow. I would call it a thing that we need to do, being dutiful to our legacy and our liberation heritage.
I can already see your critics saying that, well, if you're so strong on the ground, why even go to court? You should have just fought MK Party on the ground and on the ballots that you sought to have them removed from.
That would be incorrect. Why don't we have a right to exercise options available to us in court like everybody does? Why would the ANC, fold their arms and say we are on the ground? It doesn't work that way.
All right, Mahleni Bhengu-Motsiri is here on behalf of the ANC, and I'm told that Secretary General Fikile Mbalula will also be in court here today, just like former President Jacob Zuma, on behalf of uMkhonto weSizwe Party. A reminder again to our viewers that we will not have live proceedings, as the court has declined the media's request to take those proceedings live, and so we'll be giving you as many updates as possible from what's happening inside court. Outside as well, there are there's a rally and a peaceful protest that has been organized by the uMkhonto weSizwe Party.
Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much. We'll be again getting live updates from inside court. We may not have picture, but we'll certainly keep you close to how things are developing inside court. Mahleni Bhengu there for the ANC, saying they are doing this for the legacy of the ANC.